and spiritually. Pray that you would meet their needs, meet their requirements, meet their wishes, meet their needs, oh God. Let this committee and each person that is here be a part of this special time to give us insight, guidance, and may your will be done through all that we do, through all we share, and through all the love that we extend to everyone as you first loved us. Let it be so with all of us that we love one another the same way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Miranda, I sent you a message too.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Russ, for opening us up with a prayer. So
You're
I
welcome.
want to introduce everybody on our committee. Of course, we have Russ Alley, and Sarah Cobb, who couldn't be with us. Phyllis is on the phone. I don't know if you can see her name. I put her on there, but I think I spelled her name wrong. And then we've got Perry also is on the phone, and Perry Richards. And then we have Roger Reese and Susie Remstead and Cindy Ulrich. I get she's not with us, but we have some new committee members. So excited. We're in a great spot at the annual conference. We were where people walk by us all the time. And so we got a lot of attention on our at our table. And so we want to recognize new members, as Stephen Kane is with us today. Thank you, Stephen, for agreeing to be on our committee. And Mark Dodd. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
And then Laura Gibson, I think she's out of the country. And then we have Donnie Pence and Tricia Williams. So maybe they can still join us yet. So I'll give the floor over to Reverend Landon Wilson right now, and he's going to talk about the Diversity, Missions, and Justice Summit that's coming up.
Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. It's so great to see you. If it looks like I'm talking to the wall, I'm on 2 Zoom calls. I'm in seminary. I'm working full time, but I'm also in seminary, and so this is summer intensive week, and so I'm in class all day. And lunch break is late. I was supposed to be taking my lunch break during this learning lunch. So, but thank you, Lori, for having me, and thank all of you for being there. Miranda, it's good to see you again, always, and we're grateful for the work that you do, and that all that you keep us updated with. I wanted to make sure that I popped on. Certainly Lori could do this because she's one of our Diversity, Missions, and Justice board chairs, but I'm grateful for the invitation to come and speak in person, to invite you all to our summit that's happening in August. So August the 17th is going to be the DMJ Summit. I had all of these things queued up to share screen. There we go. And I'll pop the link to register. That's not it. Let me see. How do I turn off my screen share? There we go. Stop share. That's the link to the website where you can go register. And here's the flyer. I'm the millennial who's supposed to be great with technology. So, but here's the link to, here's the actual flyer. We've got Dr. Jamie Washington, Reverend Dr. Jamie Washington, who is a phenomenal speaker. He is known as the engagement specialist. So if you're wondering, how do we get people more tapped into ministry? How do we get people charged up for justice work? How do we get people involved in the conversation to where everybody might not join the committee, but we want our church and our organization to become more passionate about the work of justice? All of those things and more, we're going to be talking about that day. Dr. Washington will be speaking for the better part of the day, and then we'll have also some breakout sessions and a panel discussion where you can engage with him and ask questions. We'll be providing lunch. I'm told this thing cost money in the previous years when we used to do the summit. It is free this year because we want to make sure everybody gets there and the word gets out that the DMJ Summit is back. If you don't know, DMJ stands for the Diversity, Missions, and Justice Ministries of the Indiana Conference. It is not only for United Methodists, so anybody can come and be a part of it. We'll also have tables available if you have a mission if you're part of our Ministry Partners Network or an organization that wants to set up a table to share information with people. We would love to have you there for that as well. But definitely I want people to come by the busloads and van loads to University United Methodist Church in Indianapolis to come and hear and talk about together as we seek to do ministry in a stronger way. I believe in the word revival, and I don't think it always applies to just getting more butts in the seats and members in the church. I think revival needs to happen in our ministries and the way we do justice as a church. And so I hope that you'll come and join us for that. It's going to be an exciting, exciting day, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for this time to share.
Thank you, Lan. I did put the link to register in the chat.
Yay, thank you.
Great, thank you. It's going to be a really great day. I'm really looking forward to it. So I just want to introduce Nancy and Jim Cotterill. Nancy co-founded Second Chance India, and of course she did it with her husband Jim in 2016. She was an editor, later publisher of Indianapolis Business Journal, and then created a not-for-profit online news outlet for 4 million wheelchair users in the U.S. And an award-winning journalist, Nancy uses her talent to promote efforts to fight the causes of overall poverty throughout our area while working to spread this specific message. The Second Chance employment is lowering recidivism, changing lives, and raising families out of poverty. And so, and Jim's bio, he, with his beautiful wife, Nancy, co-founded Second Chance Indiana under its original name, Unite Indy, in 2016. Before that, Jim served as a founding president of the National Christian Foundation Indiana. During his decade there, the organization more than $2 million, whoa, to support ministries and other charities. Prior to his nonprofit career, Jim spent more than 22 years in the publishing business, where he was involved in starting and growing weekly business newspapers and monthly business and city magazines in Indianapolis, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Dallas, Columbus, Ohio. And so Jim and Nancy live in Indianapolis. They're members of St. Luke's and have 2 awesome sons and 2 wonderful daughters-in-laws and 5 amazing grandchildren. So I'll let Jim and Nancy do their presentation about Second Chance Indiana.
Okay, I'll tell you, thank you very much, Lori. One important thing about those 5 grandchildren, one of them was born less than a month ago, so that's the greatest joy in our life right now. Let me get this set up. Okay, can everybody see that man on the forklift?
Yes, I can see it.
All right, great. That's Nancy calls him Denzel. That's our key man on our website right now. But this is the look of the website, Second Chance Indiana. So if you ever want to go visit, it's 2ndchancein.com, and that will take you there. And we'll kind of walk you through what it is we've been doing for the last 6.5 years. Our mission is to reduce recidivism and rebuild lives through the dignity of work. We're all about work, finding work for people. 2 key stats here. And by the way, I'm going to be talking a lot about stats and vans and different programs. And I just want everybody to remember that the reason we got into this was because of people and their lives, and to try to impact the lives of people and help them to get them back on the right track, and to benefit not only the reentrant themselves, but certainly the members of their families, and to reduce the potential of future generations also becoming incarcerated, because that's so great when a parent's incarcerated. So that with
let me just interrupt.
Yeah, go
you.
ahead, Nan.
I have spoken to this group a number of times. So Jim is going to take the lead on this, definitely. But when he talks about these statistics, the family thing is not a small thing. The statistics are extremely clear that the children of an incarcerated parent has a 5 times more chance to be incarcerated, him or herself. That means what we're doing is when we don't set these people on the right track, their children are going to model what they've seen in their families. And they, in very many circumstances, are going to be in prison as well. If you go through the juvenile halls, you'll find that so many of these kids are incarcerated because their parents were incarcerated, their mom was, or their dad was, or both of them. So the statistics matter so greatly.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, we have a man who's with us who spent 40 years with the Indiana Department of Corrections. And he told me this top stat here, that for the last 20 years, this hasn't deviated more than a point one way or the other. But the point is, when people get out, when they're released, 89% of those who are rearrested and sent back into incarceration are unemployed at the time of their arrest. So I think that's one right there that shows us how important it could be to have a job for somebody who gets out. And then also getting a job shortly after release can reduce recidivism by as much as 90%. So I wanted to point this out because these two statistics and the one Nancy cited are the reasons that we emphasize employment so much to keep people from going back. So this is just a blow up of that front page of the site. There's a great big jobs available button there. When a reentrant comes to our site and presses that button, they're taken to a list of jobs, and there are all kinds of jobs here, from the most basic that require no experience whatsoever to somebody who needs a CDL license to drive a truck or to drive a bus. So they're all different levels of qualification and levels of pay that range right around $20 on the low side and up. So we're after a living wage for people, not just a minimum wage that's not going to support them and is going to get them in trouble and lead them maybe back into what got them in trouble in the first place. So as you look through, you can go through the jobs, but I think there are like 5 pages of jobs on the website right now today. This Goodwill would be an example of one of the lower levels where it doesn't require any experience at all. Just about anybody can be accepted by Goodwill to go to work there and learn how to work and get started again and get trained to go on for a career after that. Also on the website are partners that will certify people. So we follow kind of the ABC process. We'll tell people you want to get an A as any job. Hopefully you get any job, you do a good job, you can get a better job, and then eventually move on to a career. But by getting certified, you can jump from that A level, any job, to a B level, better job right away. So there are groups like Catapult that are certifying people in advanced manufacturing, to New Life Development Ministries that are doing carpentry and electronics and other certifications. And then the union that we're working with that will take somebody in as an apprentice, pay them a good wage as an apprentice, and then a phenomenal wage when they move on to be a full union member. And that also is a key to them being able to get a job anywhere in the United States in that field, so that if they want to get away from the area where they got in trouble in the first place, to get away from all the bad influence, they can go to Colorado and find a job in the same area. One thing we realized quickly is we were out talking to employers, trying to convince people to offer a second chance. And all we could say to them was, other people tell us that they believe that some of these people are the best employees that they have. And we realized we needed real hard data to talk with when we're talking to business people. So we needed research. So we went to Butler University, Lacey School of Business, the graduate school, and we said, would you do some research for us? All that's out there in the field that we could find at the time was opinion of an HR director or of a manager, that people with records still make good employees. So we said, would you look at the personnel files and look at who got promotions, who got pay raises, who advanced, and compare those to people without records and tell us how this on-the-job performance compares. And the key result of this research was, and they went through about 700 personnel files to come up with this, is that there's absolutely no statistical difference between the on-the-job performance of somebody with a criminal record and somebody who doesn't have a record, no difference whatever. And that might sound negative, but it's not. It's a real positive, because most people were thinking that, well, they probably won't be quite as good as the other employees, but maybe we ought to give them a chance. Fact is, they're just as good. And then the real key finding to me was that those with a more serious conviction, meaning a felony versus a misdemeanor, were better on the job performers. So of the two, you would think it's kind of counterintuitive to most people's thinking. Most people would think, well, yeah, we'll take people, but we don't want like maybe a murderer to come into our company because they certainly wouldn't be a good employee. Well, the point is, they, in a lot of cases, will be some of the best employees because they're so grateful that somebody gave them a second chance, because they're not used to that they'll do an excellent job. So armed with this research, we've now gotten to the point where we've got about 45 employers who have signed on, who are willing to offer a second chance, and that just grows every day. One of the problems we found is that too many people, we can connect them with employers all day, but if they aren't ready to go to work, if they're too immature, or maybe they never had a role model in their family who got up in the morning and went to work because their father went to prison before they were even able to know him. So they've never seen anybody do that over, I realized I was blessed to get up every day. And my father was either already gone to work or he was on his way to work. And I just saw that every day and didn't realize that it made me grow up with a built-in work ethic, because that's what I saw every day. Well, a lot of kids don't have that advantage like I had, so they aren't ready to go to work. So what we decided is we need a job preparation training. So we've been using a couple different programs to conduct job preparation training inside a facility before people get out, so they're ready when they get out to go to work. And it's been good, but we've, excuse me, along the way, identified some things that we think would make it stronger, would make it better. So right now we're working in conjunction with Indiana Wesleyan University to put together a new program that we're going to be calling Winning at Work. It will be a partnership effort between us and Indiana Wesleyan. That'll be our own job preparation training that we will offer not only directly from us to folks who are incarcerated, but we'll make it available to anybody who wants to take this into a facility to do this training, and we will train them to do it when it's ready. Another thing we realized is, and this is a big one, is that we can talk about work all day, but if you're, as one person said, when you come into the training, if you're bleeding, in other words, if you're hurting in some way, even if we can't see it, you might not be able to even pay attention to what's going on in a job preparation class. So if you're addicted, or if you need housing, or if you've got some looming legal issue hanging over your head that's just absolutely eating you alive, you've got really bad debt, and you feel like you'll never be able to dig out of it, and we don't talk about these things, they aren't just going to go away. So what we've done is we've made sure that we've got a number of partners in place who can handle each one of these areas. And we've got a database that people can search on our website, as well as in person. We connect inmates with these providers that can help them so that when they get out, they're not wondering where they're going to go to live. They're already set up with a place to go to live that's going to be a safe place, that's not going to be couch surfing in a friend's apartment who might have drugs there when drugs is what got me in trouble in the first place. That's not where I want to go back. I want to go back. We would emphasize probably to a faith-based connection that can help them in a number of other ways as well. We're working right now, you see the little smartphone here. we're working on a custom interactive mobile site that will give our people 24/7, 365 days a year access to circles of support. In other words, this will be your family members are all on there, your mentor. We're going to talk a little bit about mentoring as we go on here. Your mentor is on there. You don't have to go look for the phone number. You just go to that circle and you hit the button and you're connected. Your addiction recovery partner might be on there.
Your pastor.
Your pastor might be on there. Whatever it is, it's put together in a way that you don't have to think about. You don't have to call somebody else to get a number. You've got it all at your fingertips. So things that might otherwise seem like insurmountable obstacles to you have been thought about in advance, and you've made provision for those things so you don't have to worry about it. The biggest
wait,
thing we found out, yeah, go ahead, Nan.
One thing that's important about that app is that it's run by AI. So if you have family issues, say you've got a child that is addicted, you can basically answer a couple questions and you will receive through that phone links to articles on the internet about how to handle this, or also help support operations here in Indianapolis that can help you with it. So it's all run by AI, and it's going to be a tremendous help for people who are making that huge leap to a normal societal life from incarceration.
Oh, and the other thing it'll do, by the way, is it'll connect your mentor with your the employer, the person's employer. It'll connect the mentor with their case manager, with their parole officer, with their probation agent, all these people, so that they're all communicating with each other. Part of the problem now is everybody's operating in their own silos, and they might each have contact separately with the reentrant, but they aren't talking or communicating with each other to help. And this is designed in a way that it's all focused on the reentrant and what that reentrant needs to be successful in all these different areas. So they're all connected. But the one thing we found out was a big obstacle to success, a huge roadblock, was the need for reliable and affordable transportation. So we could get reentrance jobs every day. You could get them prepared to go to the job. They'd be ready to go to work. They'd be ready to do a good job. And they got there the first day bright and early and showed up and punched in, and everything was great. By the end of that first week, they lost their ride. They couldn't get there. They took a couple buses. They were late to work, and they got fired because they had no transportation. So we found out that this is one area that's absolutely key to keep people connected to the employer. So we went to work, and this happens to be a picture of a van that goes from Indianapolis to Tipton, Indiana, to a place called Park 100 Foods, which was, Park was our first employer transportation partner. And we ran a pilot program with Park for more than a year to prove that this could be done, that we could get people to work on time every day. The people in this picture, three of the 4 or 5 people there that are with Ian Cox from Park 100 over on the left are van riders, people who ride that van every day and are just delighted that we're at St. Luke's. Matter of fact, that's where that picture was taken, where we had a day where we explained what was going on to a group that came in. And these people came to tell their stories and how in many cases that van ride that got them to work every day absolutely changed their life, because they were able to keep a job for the first time in years, sometimes in their lives, in some of these people's lives. So this was our first pilot program, going from Indianapolis to Tipton. What happened is we applied for a number of grants to try to increase this, to try to make this more available. And we just absolutely were blessed. The city of Indianapolis received $143 million from the federal government in money after COVID called ARPA money, American Rescue Plan Act money. And out of that, the city gave us $1 million grant a year for 3 years, for 22 through the end of this year. And we were able to supply a whole lot more van rides. We then went on to the state of Indiana, who has given us for the last 2 years around $500,000, a little over 1 year, a little under 1 year. And we're negotiating right now on what's going to happen with both of those entities for next year. But what I wanted to show you is from that one little line, that one little path, where we are now is all these van rides, several in Indianapolis and Marion County vans are running. The van's still running. One van's running up to Tipton. There are several running from Carmel up to Tipton. There are several from Howard County down to Tipton. And there are a couple in Boone County as well. And this is what's going on right now. We've been contacted by so many entities that this is what we anticipate coming up. All the counties that you see the red circles on, we believe will be covered within maybe 3 or 4 months from now, certainly before the end of this year. So we've gone from that one van line with the help of money from the local government, which came from the federal government, and from the state government. And by the way, the city of Indianapolis is so happy with the results of what's been done in Indianapolis that when that ARPA money goes away at the end of this year, they're going to shoot for the Office of Public Health and Safety, or we're working with the Reentry Division, is going to shoot for getting that same money that they got from the federal government in the city's budget for us for the next year. So we'll see if they can do it. It'll be wonderful because we think a lot more is going to be coming from the state and probably from some foundations that we're talking to right now as well. We're hoping in a couple of years that you'll just see vans all over Indiana that are helping reentrants get back and forth to work and really helping to rebuild their lives. Another part of that city grant is that if you take a look at this image, the building in the front, the 6-story building, those are the new courts, the Community Justice Center of Indianapolis. Those are the courts, and then the big square building behind it is the Marion County Jail. And one of those little square dark blocks there is a door that goes into the building, into the reentry office. And part of our grant is that we have 3 employees in that room so that when somebody's now released from what's called the Marion County Adult Detention Center or the Marion County Jail, they come out the reentry door. And if they say that one of the things they need, in addition to maybe housing and recovery and other needs that they have, is a job, they need work, they can go right into our reentry office, be put together with one of our job counselors who will sit down with them and talk about what they're qualified for, go to the website, find the jobs, and they can sign up for a job interview right there before they ever even leave the building, before they go home. So that's our goal, is to get them online as quickly as possible and to get them signed up for a potential job. This gets into our volunteer area. There are multiple volunteer opportunities if we have interest. And one is, and Nancy knows, I'm going to let her talk about this because she knows a lot about this area because she's the reason we got into it. But it's letter writing, and that's headed up. Our team leader of our inmate correspondence team is Sarah Cobb, who you said couldn't be on today, but Sarah has stepped up. She's our Uber volunteer who takes care of everything and gets people signed up. But Nancy, would you explain just what's going on with our inmate correspondence?
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're developing a larger and larger inmate correspondence team because there are so many forgotten people in prison, and the statistics, again, I mean, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of numbers, but the statistics again show that this kind of communication, visitations, telephone calls, anything like that, constant communication is something that not only can portend a much more successful reentry. But they've got a friend on the outside. They've got somebody who's been speaking. If we can, we talk about God, and we talk about the Bible with them and share messages with each other. That's the really strongest thing we can do. And frankly, when you're closed up in a cell by yourself and you feel very alone, a big door opens up for God in the lives of somebody who's just maybe even never heard of the sanctity of the Lord. So we are we really promote this. It's not an easy thing to get people to join. They're afraid a lot of times. And one of the things we do is help tell them that you don't have to use your address. You don't have to feel afraid. A lot of people they think, who are these people? They've done bad things. Maybe they would use me in some way. We really have a lot of rules. You don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this, but this is what you do. You send the friendship and love to these people. So, and we take care of all that. And Sarah is just the heart and soul of it right now. It started with somebody writing me years ago, and I wrote him for years until he left prison. And so Sarah will take care of anybody that wants to do this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Another is our prayer team. This is on the left, obviously, that's the prayer team, but and anybody can join. So there's no limit to the number of people who can be part of the prayer team. They're connected electronically. They can obviously get together if they want to, but they're actually praying we've got on what we call the prayer chapel on the website now. That's what's on the right on your screen there. And somebody can go in and put in a prayer request there. Anybody can go and pray for that person and log in the fact that they prayed for them, and it will show them later. So let's say somebody on our, as an example, somebody on our inmate correspondence team wants people to pray for the inmate they're writing to. They would put in the prayer request. They would talk about who the person is. They might use the name, they might not, depending on privacy, whatever they want to do. They don't have to use the name, the full name. Could use the first name and a last initial, and just say, I ask for your prayers for this person. So you pray for them, you click the button that you prayed for them, and all of a sudden we can see that 39 people prayed for this person. So that tells the letter writer that they did it, and they can get back to the person. They can say, I put your name in a prayer request on our website, and 77 people prayed for you today. It just really can be uplifting for them to hear this. And we all know the power of prayer and what that can do. So check it out. Go to the prayer chapel, see what prayers are on there, pray for people, and click the button and let them know that you prayed for them. And we believe that that'll do a lot to change lives as well. These could be people that are never getting out, or it could be somebody who's getting out tomorrow and they're just asking for prayer because they're concerned about what they're going to face. The last area, the volunteer area, this is mentoring. And this is, we believe, a key. What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to make sure that through several mentoring groups that are listed here on the screen that have experience at this, the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, the Catholic organization, has many, many people who've been mentoring for a long time. Christian Businessmen's Connection, CBMC, has a program called Operation Timothy, where they work with business owners, and it's basically a mentoring. It's Paul being a mentor, that would be a great example. They've been doing that for a long time. Workforce Chaplains helps people in the workplace and also does mentoring. And Trusted Mentors is probably the biggest one in prisons. Anyway, through these organizations, we're taking in volunteers and then telling them about the different organizations. They can join whichever one they feel most comfortable in, and they can get trained to do this. And then we will connect them with an inmate who needs to be mentored, so that when they get out, they've got a connection. So in some cases, while they're going through job preparation training, the mentor can be connected with them either electronically or they can go visit them in person if they want to, if they so choose. And then hopefully what we're saying to them is please stick with them for at least their first 90 days of employment, because that's that critical make it or break it time period for a person when they start work after they leave incarceration. And what we're hoping is they'll stick with them for at least a year. That would be fantastic because it really gets them a start in life where they're then empowered to go on their own. And what we're finding is many people that we've talked to that have been mentoring for years is they just become lifelong friends. And that's just the best situation. So anyway, those are the opportunities, the letter writing, the mentoring, and now I'm drawing.
Prayer team.
What's that?
The prayer team.
Yeah, the prayer team, I'm sorry. But those are the opportunities that are out there, and we just invite you for any of those. And all you need to do is just use our inquiry form, our contact us form, and just say, how do I do this? Or go to our volunteer opportunities and they're right there and you can sign up for them. All right. And that's it. That's Second Chance Indiana in a nutshell.
Whoops, did I lose you?
No,
No. I did.
you're on.
We can hear
Am
you.
I can't
Yeah.
see it. Anyway, I will say this, that over time, we're 8 years old, that's nothing. Over the decades, somebody else will be running this, somebody else will be doing the work. But over the decades, we really see a change in the number of people who spend time in prisons. We really see families that are used to always living on the government dole, finding work as a real aspiration for them and their children. We see a much bigger middle class in the state of Indiana and a much smaller needy class. And that's really what we hope for, because crime is a result of neediness. And if we can give people the hope that they need, that they can support themselves well and they can support their children well, that is, people take advantage, they take it for granted, and it shouldn't be taken for granted. So
Nancy,
yes.
this is Phyllis. I am going in every Thursday. I'm doing 7 Habits of Highly Effective People at the Indiana Women's Prison. I am not online. And do you have hard copies of this that I might bring into my classes?
Hard copies of what?
Well, for instance, I don't know what you all are seeing, something that has to do with the website. I am just on a phone.
Okay.
So I need something about the website.
Yes.
I won't
we
be able
have
to
brochures.
hand this.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you could get me those brochures.
Sure.
I'll have to get somebody to allow me to take them in, but at least I can talk about it.
Oh,
Now,
sure.
a very bad thing just happened this morning. We were going in to do a mentoring class for the Plus program, and it was canceled because the chaplain just resigned, and I'm just crushed because Chaplain McDonald has been a really wonderful chaplain to work under. And I don't know what happened, but he said somebody else who comes in would do mentoring, but we have not had mentoring in the Plus program since pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before that, I mentored for years. But
We've had a problem getting into the prisons ourselves and jails because of a shortage of workers in those areas. They need to have plenty of guards on staff to bring civilians in. And I completely understand what you've been going through, and we've been going through it too, but we're just trying to hold our breath while we're underwater until we can do what we need to do. I know how you feel, but as far as getting you something, we can absolutely do that.
Thank you, Nancy.
Uh-huh.
I'll make sure I get
Oh,
this,
and by the way,
Phyllis.
I'm on the board of Constructing Our Future, which has a house in Broad Ripple, which is a beautiful house, and but we can only take 5 women, but we're actually, there aren't that many people that are in there now, so we really need to keep that house full of people.
Okay. Well, we'll pass the word.
Thank you, Phyllis. Is there any other questions for Jim and Nancy?
Can we get an address from you, Lori, to get her those brochures? How
Sure,
do we
yeah.
do that? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll make
Okay.
sure that happens. Any other questions?
I just want to say I'm really excited about what I'm hearing, and I hope that I can be of help through Living Waters Peace Center here in Fort Wayne. We really would love to work with you to help that van thing happen. Sounds really exciting. I think work is essential to the help of people getting out. Of course, here in Allen County, people get out all hours of day or night.
Right.
Nobody knows when. I
Here
don't
too.
understand. Well, that's so stupid.
I
But-
know.
Yeah.
But I would love to work with you. And so I put my email, steve.kane@inumc.org. And my wife and I run Living Waters Peace Center. And we do a lot of work with people that are homeless or on the edge of homelessness or addicted. So, and my thing is couples, but anyway.
Well,
thanks.
we would
Good
ask,
work.
anybody who's interested to see what we're writing and what's happening is to go to our website, 2ndchancein.com, and just go Second Chance Indiana, and you'll find it. And down at the bottom, you can subscribe.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, they have a really great newsletter. Very well done.
Nancy does it.
She's a great support to our committee too. Thank you, Nancy, for all you do for our committee.
Oh, you're welcome.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm so glad that this has been meaningful for you to listen to them. Any other questions? If not, we'll go to Miranda, and she's going to explain how our prison and jail committee is now a part of her coalition. So, any other questions for Jim and Nancy? Okay, Miranda, I'll let you start then.
Great, thanks, Lori. And actually, there's like 5 of our coalition partners already on this meeting, so super excited to be here. And just following up with some stats that Jim and Nancy shared, 47% of the people who are incarcerated right now actually have not committed a new crime. They're there because of technical violations that you and I would not be sitting in prison for. So saying that Reform Alliance is a national organization that focuses on changing laws related to probation and parole. And under that umbrella, we champion the Indiana Secure Communities Coalition, which really focuses on building safe communities and writing laws and legislation that are solution-based, best practices, and truly keep the community safe by what the data says. And we know the data says, just like Nancy said, the stats of children getting, or the children's pathway to incarceration when their parents are involved in the system, and how detrimental it is to pull somebody out of a stable job and house and their family to put them back in prison for accountability when there's different areas and different ways to hold the person accountable. So
Right.
our coalition really champions passing legislation and working together with the community partners to serve the justice impacted community. Reform and the coalition does not provide any direct services. We really focus and lean on our community partners to do that. So if you are interested in joining the coalition, I will put our website and Reform's website in the chat. We meet monthly right now. That may increase during legislative session when we have our legislative agenda outlined and what that looks like. We'll obviously meet more frequently because when session starts, things happen by the minute. And I also send out biweekly updates just to keep everybody involved in what's happening in the community. And I think what benefits you could receive from being part of the coalition is sharing information about either resources or services you need to serve the population that you are working with, or if you want to host an event or want reforms financial support, I can always request for us to help do that. We have a C4 side if you're interested in hosting a legislative event, or if you have something on your agenda that you really want to help push related to the community supervision space, we can help with that. And also, if you're a member of the coalition, we have an articulation with the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Carpenters Union. So all referrals who come through our coalition members are directly placed into the union without having to wait that 6 to 8 month period. So all of the process is expedited. So, and it's just a great way to share resources and network and help fill the gaps in the community. All of us are we have the same mission and we're trying to serve together. And sometimes, there's power and strength in numbers, and you don't have to worry about duplicating work that maybe somebody else is doing, but partnering and collaborating to make things bigger and better. So I will put that information in the chat. But I'm very thankful to our partners. We have Susie, Cecilia, Jim. We worked really great together on the Second Chance Resource Fair. Russ was on here earlier. And Roger. And another thing I can offer, I did work in the Department of Correction for many, many years, 16 years. So I do have a lot of knowledge of policy and procedures and what that looks like, and what can hopefully offer my expertise in that to help you guys bypass some of the struggles and getting the support of administration to make some of these programs that we know work back inside the facilities, because DOC will find every excuse not to do something, and COVID really helped that those excuses. So but there's always a will and a way, and I don't accept no on the first time. So I think partnering and making things happen is what we should be doing.
Thank you, Miranda. She does such a great job with her coalition Zoom calls. They're mostly 30 minutes long and so informative, and she keeps them moving. And so I highly recommend you connect with Miranda and get on her coalition calls. They're just excellent. I've learned so much, and it's really helped me. Any questions for Miranda? Oh, Susie, you got a question? Mm-hmm. You're muted. You're muted, Susie.
Well, Miranda.
Sorry.
Miranda? This is Phyllis again. Are you aware of Women on the Rise?
Yeah. So I actually helped implement the program when I took over the mom and baby unit. So I was the lead staff working with Dr. Truman to get the program up and running, and wrote all the policies and procedures for that. So super exciting to see that come out. And we were actually published, and it was recognized as a global model of how we should be treating pregnant women in prison. So it's really amazing.
Hey, Miranda, can you tell us where that's available online?
The publication?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll send you the journal article. It's in it's an international journal, but yeah, I'll put it in. I'll send it to Lori and get it to you.
I'm going to send a follow-up email after.
I'd like to read it.
Yeah. And we actually, and I was actually part of another international publication about a quality assurance tool for how pregnant women should be treated. So, mom and baby in the prison nursery, but also just pregnant women in the justice system and in general. Yeah, it's a very underserved, underacknowledged population.
Susie, did you have a
Well,
question?
Yes.
Nina Porter, do you know Nina?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Miranda?
Yep, I worked very closely
Well,
with her.
Well, I helped her in reentry, she and Gianna, for a couple of years.
Mhm.
And she's very proud of the fact that there is something, there are women on the rise contacts in all 92 counties now.
Yeah.
Which I think is marvelous. Mark Dodd, are you?
Yes, I'm here.
Your experience is so good. Do you have any suggestions for us? What we
Nothing
can do?
right now, Phyllis.
Just before pandemic, our Andrea Lewis, our then chaplain, one of them at IWP, said that we can no longer give greeting cards. Now, do you know if the Salvation Army is still doing that greeting card ministry that they did?
That I can't
I
answer
remember-
right now, Phyllis. They were when I was still chaplain at the Pendleton Correctional Facility. We still got cards from them, but I don't know what things are like right now.
Yeah, Phyllis, we can talk about that at our next committee meeting too. So thank you for those questions. Susie, did you have a question?
Yes, I've been inspired ever since I first learned about Second Chance Indy or Unite Indy when it was called that. And this expansion into other parts of the state are again thrilling to me because we have a son at Newcastle and we're in Monroe County. But the next question is the one that is seldom ever talked about. You mentioned murderers, but do you work with people with sex offenses?
Yes. Yes. Turn yours on. Yeah, I admit that they're the hardest to place in both housing and work, but we do our best, and there are places in both of those areas that we work with that will help us. So yeah, absolutely. We would welcome the chance to help somebody. Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So our next learning lunch is not until October, but I'm thinking I'm going to put another one on our schedule. Miranda recently had a 211 Zoom call and learn about the resource of 211, and I thought it was fabulous. So I think I'm going to try to have another Zoom meeting to give more information out, but for about 211. It was very well done. Anything else before we close? Anybody?
Lori, this
Yes.
is Cecilia.
Yes, hi,
Hi.
Cecilia.
I have learned so much about Second Chance and all that the excellent work you're doing. I would like to make an announcement that the name of our organization is called Use What You Got Ministry. My son did armed robbery with a shotgun, and I'm the mother who started a transportation for families to go to the prisons to visit their loved ones. And I've been doing this for 35 years. So I'm very happy to learn and to meet all that you're doing. It's been a struggle for me being a mother to do this, but I am starting a YouTube Zoom. Hopefully it'll be started Monday, and it's going to be ran by a young man who's been in our program, and his name is Clifton Amir Johnson. He's 19 years old, and he will be running a YouTube podcast to talk to young men about staying out of prison and what it means to move forward. So if you can be watching for our new episode that Use What You Got Ministry, Keeping Families Connected, we'll be doing with a young 19-year-old man to share his story, and he will be doing this at least 3 times a week of talking to other young men. So please be on the lookout for Use What You Got Ministry, Keeping Families Connected YouTube. Clifton Amir Johnson, 19-year-old man, will be running our first podcast to share, to help other young men to stay out of prison. And I'm hoping that I can get my son, who's been in and out of prison for, he about 17 years, to be on the podcast. So thank you so much. This has been amazing. I've learned so much.
Cecilia, don't go away. I
Yes.
need to ask you something.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
we're signing out. I want to tell you on our website, we've got a video of Arthur Beatty, who spent, I don't know, what was it, 30 years in prison, 2 murders, 1 murder. He would be a great interview after, Clifton's going to get to the point where he has talked himself green about himself. So he's another one. And then I've got another contact who, senior in high school, went out drinking with his buddy in a car, and they got in a car accident. The buddy died. He went to prison for decades. And I mean, he was 18 years old, stupid kid.
Please.
And it has changed his life in a very hard way. And he would be great. He's
Yes. please.
wonderful spokesman. So if you need people, I
Yes.
can get to you.
I'll get Clifton to give you a call.
Okay,
He's
great.
excited to start our first podcast for Use What You Got Ministry, Keeping Families Connected. Thank
Or
you.
email me at NC@Second Chance Indiana, and we can talk.
Okay, Lori, will you help me to get her email, Lori?
Yes, and
Okay.
Cecilia, please give me information about how I can publicize your podcast.
Okay, thank
I'm going to
you.
send a
Yes.
follow-up
Yeah,
email.
me too, Cecilia. I'll get it out to our coalition.
Okay,
We'll do
thank
it.
you. Thank
I'm
you.
gonna put the emails in the chat.
Okay, I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, so I'm going to send a follow-up email. I'm going to send this Zoom meeting out to everybody, and hopefully get some more responses. So thanks so much, everybody. This has been a wonderful hour with you. Thank you for attending. So I guess we won't keep you too much longer unless somebody else has something really that they need to talk about. I'll close the meeting.
Just please be in prayer for the death of a young man here in Fort Wayne. It may be a second experience of Black Lives Matter. It's so powerful, the shooting of a young man just 3 days ago. It's horrible. We're already on the streets. Please be in prayer for Fort Wayne as Mayor Tucker deals with this horrific thing that happened.
So sorry to hear this. Thanks for letting us know that we need to send our prayers to Fort Wayne for sure.
And please keep me in prayer. I'm going to have a meeting with Bishop Trimble in about another hour. So I'm on my way to a meeting to meet with the bishop. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you. And thank you. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.